Criticism is something we can avoid easily by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. Aristotle. How many times have you held back from sharing something you truly believe in, just to avoid the sting of criticism? How many dreams, ideas, or even parts of your soul have you kept hidden because of the fear of being judged? We live in a world where silence often feels safer than speaking your truth, where doing nothing might seem like the only way to escape the harsh glare of others' opinions. But what if this constant silence is robbing you of something much greater? Today, we're diving into a profound truth that has echoed through history, a simple yet powerful insight from one of the greatest minds ever to walk this earth. A truth that, when understood, could change the way you see criticism, fear, and even yourself. Criticism is something we can avoid easily by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. Aristotle. Let those words sink in for a moment. Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history, made this observation that, at first glance, may seem simple. But when we truly look at it closely, it touches something much deeper within all of us. Our relationship with criticism, the fear of rejection, and the emptiness we often feel when we try to shield ourselves. Now, take a deep breath. Let's explore what these words really mean, because they have the power to free us from an invisible weight we've been carrying. Aristotle, a name we all know, but how much do we really understand about the man behind the wisdom? Born in 384 BCE in ancient Greece, Aristotle was more than just a philosopher. He was a teacher, a scientist, and a guide for humanity's deepest questions. His work spanned across many fields, from logic to metaphysics, ethics to biology. But it was his thoughts on human nature, relationships, and society that have stood the test of time. This particular quote comes from his understanding of how we, as individuals, navigate the world of public opinion. It was a reflection on how we often choose safety over authenticity, silence over speaking out, simply to avoid the sting of criticism. In ancient Athens, just as today, people were quick to judge, to label, to critique. Aristotle, like many of us, saw this and understood the quiet suffering that comes from it. He knew the high price we pay when we choose to say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing, all to escape the harshness of judgment. At first glance, Aristotle's words might sound like a simple observation. If you avoid saying anything, doing anything, or being anything, you won't be criticized. But that's not the whole truth. It's more of a warning, a deep reflection on what it truly means to live fully, to embrace who we are, and to confront the consequences of choosing silence over authenticity. Think about it. How many times have you held back your true thoughts or desires because you feared being judged? How many moments have you stayed quiet, not because you didn't have something valuable to say, but because you knew the weight of criticism would follow? Aristotle isn't just pointing out that criticism is avoidable. He's pointing out that in avoiding criticism, we avoid life itself. We avoid the moments that shape us, the actions that define us, and the people who truly see us for who we are. When we choose silence over truth, we miss out on the very essence of living, of being fully present, fully engaged, and fully ourselves. In this sense, the quote isn't just about criticism. It's about the cost of conformity, the price we pay when we choose to live as mere shadows of who we could be. if we say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing, what are we really living for? And more importantly, what are we avoiding by hiding? Just now that we understand the depth of Aristotle's words, let's bring them into our lives today. Because let's face it, the world we live in isn't much different from ancient Athens when it comes to criticism. In fact, if anything, it's even louder, faster, and more relentless. How many times have you held back an opinion in a meeting or avoided speaking up in a group just to not rock the boat? How many of you have scrolled past a post or a conversation online, biting your tongue because you didn't want to deal with the backlash that might follow? Or maybe you've been in a situation where you felt like you had to hide a part of who you are, a dream, an idea, even a part of your personality, all because you were afraid of what others might think. Perhaps you stayed in the shadows, doing nothing, being nothing, just so the criticism would stay at bay. But here's the thing, avoiding criticism often means avoiding growth. Avoiding the discomfort of being judged means avoiding the opportunities to truly be yourself. And in today's world, this is a very real challenge. We face the pressure of social media, where everyone seems to have an opinion, and every misstep is magnified. We face the pressure of constant comparison, as we see people living seemingly perfect lives and wonder why our own doesn't match up. So, how do we apply Aristotle's wisdom today? How do we stop hiding, stop avoiding, and start truly living? It starts with understanding that criticism is inevitable. It's not something we can avoid forever. In fact, the moment we choose to stand up, speak out, and be fully ourselves, the world will have something to say about it. But that's okay. The criticism isn't the problem. The problem is when we let it silence us, when we allow the fear of what others think to define our actions, to define our voice. Instead of avoiding criticism, embrace it as a signal of progress. If you're not being criticized, you're probably not doing anything significant. If you're not being judged, you might be staying too comfortable, too small. But when you step into your truth, share your voice, and show up as you really are, criticism is simply a sign that you're on the right path. So, how do we practically apply this? First, stop worrying about perfection. Whether it's a conversation at work, a post online, or a vulnerable conversation with a friend, let go of the need to be liked by everyone. It's more important to be honest, to be true to your values. Second, remind yourself that discomfort and criticism are part of growth. The more you face them, the stronger and more authentic you become. Finally, create spaces in your life where you can be unapologetically yourself, where you can share, speak, and act without the fear of judgment constantly holding you back. So, what have we learned from Aristotle's words today? The truth is, we all face criticism. Whether it's from others or from within ourselves, it's an inevitable part of life. But the question is, how will you respond to it? Will you hide? Will you say nothing, do nothing, and be nothing? Or will you choose to step into the light, your light, and face the criticism that comes with it? Criticism may sting, it may shake us, but it also gives us an opportunity to see where we stand, what we truly value, and what we're willing to fight for. You don't have to silence yourself to avoid it. You don't have to shrink down into nothingness just to stay safe. You are meant for more than that. You are meant to speak, to create, to be seen. So, as As you leave this space today, I ask you to reflect. What part of yourself have you been hiding? What voice have you been silencing out of fear? And what would it look like if you let that voice be heard, no matter the criticism that follows? Take a moment, think about it, and then take the first step. Share that truth. Express that idea. Show up as your real self. If this video spoke to you, if you feel empowered to start stepping out of the shadows, I want you to share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing for more content like this. Content that helps you live fully, without fear of judgment. Thank you for being here. You are enough, and your voice matters.